So today in this class, we are going to learn on create a base class containing a data member called as roll number, data member called as roll number, data members called as roll number, okay, roll number and name, roll number and name in a base class, in base class, in a base class, and create one more class which acquires one more class which acquires which acquire the properties of which acquire the properties of base class and add add marks marks and add marks in the derived class and show the inheritance and show the inheritance. So what actually a question says means what you should do here is you should create two classes, one which acquires the properties of base class, and that base class must contain two types, name and roll number. After that, a derived class contains mark 1, mark 2 and total. And what we should do, we should create a single level inheritance with the help of a given code. Okay, so as you all know, what is a single level inheritance means? It is the type. It is the type of inheritance which consists of two classes which are, one is base class, other one is derived class. Derived class. One is base class, another one is derived class, in which the base class acquire and it takes the properties of, in which the base class property will be acquired from derived class. So what is this? What is a single level of inheritance? A single level inheritance is a type of inheritance which consists of two classes. One is base class and other one is derived class, in which the base class acquires the properties of derived class. Such kinds of inheritance is known as single level inheritance. Okay. So how we can actually say it is a single level inheritance? When we have two classes. Okay, when we have two classes. Okay, so right, when we have two classes, okay, when we have two classes, the first class, this one is called as base class. Okay, the second one is called as derived class. First one is called as base class and second one is called as derived class. Here, what happens here is the what happens here is the derived class acquires some properties of base class. The derived class acquires some properties of base class. Means we have, for example, say for an example that a base class called as father, and derived class called as son, which means that this son has some properties of father, or this father, the properties of father is being acquired or taken the the son, whether it may be in his behavior or in his some in different kinds of stanzas. He takes the properties of a derived class. Such kinds of concepts is called as single level in single level inheritance. So how we can give a relationship between us father and son based on the genes. Based on the genes. So the gene, what we can say here is here the genes of father will be taken the gene of father will be acquired by the son. Genes of father will be acquired by the son, which means that ಇವರಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಮಚ್ಚೆನೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ನ ಸನ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? It is known as single level inheritance. There will be no interface between multiple things. Only which consists of one base class and one derived class. Based on that, we work on a process is called a single level inheritance. Now, let us learn how to create a single level inheritance. Now let us learn how to create a single level inheritance. So you first, what we are going to do, we are going to create a first linker section. As you all know, iostream.h, corner.h, string.h and iomanip.h. So string.h is been used for a string variables or a characters. Okay, string variables or characters. And here what we did, here we have created a class called student, as base class, called student as a base class. Okay, which consists of data members roll number, and name, which consists of data members called roll number and name. Here, what we did, we used inline class definition, inside class definition, or inline class inside class. We have used inside class definition. Here, what we did in the inside class definition, we wrote void read, and void display. Void read and void display function, which is written in, which is written inside. When we write the function inside, which means that we can access the function only inside the class, but not outside. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, whenever we are going to use a inside class definition like void read, where we have used here void read ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, we have not only declared, using when we declare itself we have defined the class. Okay, so this is how we are going to use the inside class definition. What happened here? Void read is a function which consists of cout, enter the name, cin dot get line. Why we are going to use the get line? Because it is the string variable we are going to pass, which is not a single character. Cin dot get means we are going to use a single line. Cin dot get line means we are going to use multiple lines. Okay, understand that? Okay, so name of 20, the size, how many letters you should give? Only 20 letters. Then we are going to say enter the roll number. Okay, here what happens when it is going to enter the read, it is going to take your name and it takes the roll number also. Next, what we are going to do, we are going to display that void display cout roll number. Okay, after this we are going to close this class. Okay, next what we did, class, here we have created a inheritance. How we are going to create an inheritance means class followed by class name, followed by base class name, or followed by derived class name, followed by derived class name is to. Okay, there is no scope resolution of, there is only a colon, pub access specifier followed by base class name. Here we are saying this is a single level inheritance. We are going to say that this is a single level inheritance. What happened here is class followed by derived class name. What type? One more class we are going to create. First we had a base class called student. Now when we say class marks is a derived class, acquires the property I said. So to acquire those properties, what we are going to use? We are going to use a colon to say that it is a single level inheritance. We are working on a single level inheritance. So what type, how we should use the single level inheritance? It may be 3 types, whether it may be private, public, or protected. Here what I'm going to use a public, which type or which base class name called as student. Okay, which base class name called as student. This is how we are going to create a single level inheritance. What does it say here is, here the properties of base class. What is the properties of the base class? The properties of base class is nothing but a data member. Nothing. The properties in base class are member data members and member function. What does it say? ಇದು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ತರ ನಾವು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಈ ಇಂಟ್ ರೋಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇಂಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಮತ್ತೆ member functions read and display is there, right? Those things we can access inside one more class called as marks. Those things we can access inside one more class called as marks. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? So what I'm saying here is the marks ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ. This marks class is called as a derived class. So those derived class, okay, so those data member and member function can be accessed inside the derived class. Derived class. Here the base class called as student has the properties called as the properties data members and member functions called as roll number and name as data members, member function read and display. Okay, so those properties can be accessed by the marks. Okay, so here what we did in the marks, we have created a inheritance called as marks as a derived class. What access specifier, how you should use that class means I should use this class in a public student. So what I did here, I have created a private one access specifier, and it has two types. One is int m1 and m2 and read. Here you see. So what I did here, I read two data called as m1 and m2. I found the total, and after that display one has the subject 1, subject 2 and total. So just I am going to display the symbol how to create a simple single inheritance concept. Okay, after that int main. So whenever you are going to use the int main as a main function, so you should always use a return type specifier. So what we did here, marks.m. ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ತೋರಿಸಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ನಾವ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿರೈವ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. What we are going to do, we are going to create an object for derived class. We are going to create an object for derived class. So after creating an object for derived class, we are going to access using that object. Using the object of derived class, we are going to access the member function of a base class. We are going to access member function of base class. So by using m.read, m.read1, m.display and m.display1 and get ch. This is how a single level inheritance can be created. So now let us see how to use. Okay, now let us learn how to work on single level inheritance. So based by using a compiler line, I'm going to explain you how a compiler works or how a compiler acts for a given single level inheritance. Okay. Okay, so this is the program over here. So I have already explained you how this program works. Okay, so here this has some different kinds of things. Now let us learn by debugging a program. It doesn't have any errors. Now what I do, I will work based on a compiler itself. So you, as you all know, what main is the starting line of your program. Compiler enters the main and it removes all the data or clears out your screen. It has already created an object inside your memory called as m of marks class name followed by object name means marks m. M is the object of class marks means base class marks. So what happens here, m dot read ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ. So what happened, ಇದು read ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ, it is inside a student class, which means that a base class. But what happened here, I have created an object for derived class called as marks. So what I did, I have created an object for derived class marks. You can see out here, derived class marks, right? So what I did, I have created a object for derived class marks. M dot read ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಯ್ತು, ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ it has shifted its line to a read function inside a base class. So after that, it is going to say see out and it has enters its own derived class functions called as what we say, it is called as the predefined functions. Here it is going to enter and it asks me to enter the name called as, enter the name finished, right? Now it is going to move to the one more line, enter the roll number. It moves to the predefined function, checks and it returns me and it asks me to enter the roll number called as 1 2 3 4. Okay, so now what happened, it moved it went outside the statement. Okay, now again what it did, it just came back to the main function for to check what I should call next. Andre ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, control ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, the control is going to transfer from your main function itself. Next, m dot read one. Now what will happen, it is going to move to the read one function inside the derived class. So now what it is going to take, now it is going to take the values, enter the 2 marks. Okay, 2 marks I'm going to enter like 95 and 100. Now what it is going to do, now it is going to do the total of that marks, and it will first, what it will do, it will display the first one. Again it is going to do the same. First what it will do means, first it will display the roll number and marks, the roll number and name. Next it is going to come to display one and it is going to display marks and total marks. Get ch. So here, this is how it is going to work on a basis of the compiler. This is how it is going to work on a basis of the compiler. Clear? So what happened here? Here it showed us how to work, how does the single level inheritance work ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ. So main ಆಗಿ, so mainly what we are going to do here, so the main thing is we are going to work for a single level inheritance. So as I already explained you inside this word, so ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, first ನಿಮ್ಮ compiler line ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ into a main function. First it is going to come to a main function, then it is going to say it is going to create a object for a class marks, means a marks is a base class over here. What happened, the marks is a base class over here. After that, after finishing this, it will clear the screen. Then m dot read ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, m is a object of derived class, read is the member function of the base class. M is the object of derived class and read is the member function of base class. So what actually the main idea behind this is, it is going to access the base class property. So ನಿಮಗೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಗೊತ್ತುಂಟು, ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಇನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ or inside class definition ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ definition is only satisfied until the inside class but not outside the class. But the object which I have created was created for a outside class. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ಯಾವ್ದು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ, ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಗೆ. ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ by the outside class definition, by the other class, the one derived class, we are going to access the properties of base class. This is how we are going to work for base class values. So once again, you see this, okay? Without a compiler, what we can do? Without a compiler, okay, F9, control F9. So enter the name. Okay, roll number, 2 marks, 898 and 67 total. This is how a single level inheritance work ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಎರಡು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ಮತ್ತು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ 1. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, m.display. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೂವ್ ಟು m.display. m.display ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದದು, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ಅ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ನ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ನ ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಫಿನಿಶಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್, it is again in the compiler line comes to the m.display function, and it is going to display this value. Finally, it is going to show the output. Let's see the output. So this is how we are going to work on a single level inheritance. How we are going to work on single level inheritance. So hope you understood this, how we are going to work on a single level inheritance, right?